Hi, so the next video in our Creating a Wellness Reality is on the topic of sexual wellness. And as you can see, I'm in my car, and the reason that I'm in my car is because the last thing I need is for my children to find out what I'm doing and tell their dad that mom made a sex video for the internet. So, yeah, we're in my car. And the topic of sexual wellness is really important to consider because of some of the repercussions on the rest of our wellness web. So, wellness has been compared to a spider web, and when you are stepping on one part, it sends a vibration and ripple through the other parts. And so, we want to make sure that in the realm of wellness, our physical wellness, specifically with sex, that we are sending the right vibration through our web, right? So, um, we come to the topic of sex and it's got a lot of charge to it. So I want to discharge some of these ideas by inviting you to suspend some of your conclusions and some of the judgments, maybe some of the stories that you told yourself, so that we can just look at it without a moral evaluation on there. And so we can examine this in light of, are your sexual wellness practices, are these suiting your wellness ideas and your wellness vision and goals? So with that, I want to start with the idea of consent. And there's a video on the internet on YouTube, and it discusses and compares consent is like a cup of tea. And there's an explicit version and a clean version. I personally prefer the explicit version because there's some power behind some of the words that he uses. And basically, what he talks about is that you would never force somebody to drink a cup of tea. If you offer them tea and they say no, thank you, you wouldn't dump it down their throat. Same thing with if you are offering them tea and they say yes, and then later they change their mind. Again, you're not going to force them. And, so the story goes with, if you make some tea or if they're drinking a half a cup of tea and they decide they've had enough, you would not say, hey, wait, what about the rest of your tea? So really go Google that one because that's just a paraphrase. But what we're going for is the, oh, hell yeah, right? Would you like a cup of tea? Oh, yes. I cannot think of anything that sounds better than a cup of tea right now, right? That's what we're going for. And if it is not a hell yeah, then it's a no, right? We've seen this in some of our mindfulness and wellness trainings, that kind of thing. So if you are involved in a relationship and sexual abuse is part of your relationship, then I would really encourage you to call the domestic violence hotline, call the rape awareness and prevention people. Get some help for this, right? You do not have to be subject to sketchy sex. You don't need to drink tea that you don't want to drink, right? Okay, so um, the reason that this really came to mind is because I recently got back onto online dating, and I'm looking at these profiles going, what on earth are people doing? Why are they seeking sex like this? And not in a judgmental way, but really in a curiosity way. My brother sent me the greatest text after I got divorced, and he said Uber and condoms. And I said, what? And he said Uber and condoms because STDs and DUIs are real. So, oh my gosh, that is some great, flippin' fantastic advice post divorce, right? We all have that idea. I don't know if you had the experience, but when my ex left, my libido shot straight teenage boy. And I didn't even know what was going on. So that brings me to kind of this idea. Homeopathy is a modality within alternative medicine, and homeopathy has a formula, and the formula sounds like this. It goes stress plus susceptibility equals symptom. And so you can work it backwards. And stress is a life event. In the case of maybe a flu epidemic, it could be the virus. Susceptibility is how prone are you and how susceptible are you to that. And then the symptom is what happens when you are susceptible to the stress, right? And your vital force is that force within you that is responsible for seeking out and filling in those divots in your susceptibility, right? So your vital force is what's seeking that out. So when I'm looking at the symptom of, this libido that's through the roof, I can go back and I can go, okay, what is my susceptibility here that's causing that symptom? What is that depletion in my vital force? And so when we're looking at these things, we can look at this through a heart, mind, body, all of these things as we have a depletion here. So that's kind of the premise for what does your sexual wellness look like for you personally, and in the next couple of minutes, I want to make this sexual wellness video, kind of sexual wellness in 7 minutes. That's what she said kind of a thing. But anyway, so that we can kind of keep this as a condensed idea and you can go explore on your own. So energy medicine talks about chakras, and it talks about these nerve centers. Scientists have now found extra nerve centers in these different places that Eastern medicine has really talked about. Chinese medicine has talked about as far as where some of your wellness resides in these energy pathways. And energy medicine talks about these auras that come out from your body, and it's scientifically we're starting to begin to be able to measure these. And so this is kind of your force field and your life force field, right? And when you're looking at these things and you're thinking, okay, what is my force field protecting me from? You also want to consider that when you are joining your body with somebody else, you are also joining your mind, your heart, your soul, and these energy centers, right? And this is something that is that what you want to give to this person? Are they worthy of this? And when you're, if we examine whether or not our relationships are healthy for us, are these a wellness mindset, or is this just a sketchy get me through this until I can live my real life mindset? What are you joining your body to? What are you joining your heart and your chakras and your energy centers to, right? Chinese medicine talks about it this way. You have a protective qi, right? Qi is that life force energy that moves through your body, and it is what's responsible for your health and your wellness. And when you have a depletion in your Wei Qi, so your Wei Qi is that immune system Qi. When you have a depletion in your Wei Qi, you're leaving yourself open to what they refer to as pernicious influence. And I really love the way that Chinese medicine talks about different descriptions of things, because pernicious influence, that really does sound like something that's going to make you sick, right? And so the question is that when you have this depleted Wei Qi because of some of your practices, maybe your heart or your body practice, you are leaving your Wei Qi open to pernicious influence. And so I'd like to pose this question: what kind of pernicious influence are you inviting into your Wei Qi, right? That sounds a little different when you put it that way, right? So take a second to think about, what is your sexual wellness? Where do you fall on the symptom scale? What is it that you have experienced? Where do you need some therapy? Do you need some physical, have you had an STD check? Are you with a partner who has also been faithful or monogamous? If you are with a partner that you can't trust, go get an STD check and just take a second to assess your sexual wellness. Are you are you joining yourself with people that you don't consent to have sex with in your heart, mind, soul, and your body, right? Are you willingly partaking of this? Because it could be really fantastic. Everybody likes a really awesome roll in the hay. So just take a second, list maybe what are your sexual values? Do you value sex outside of marriage? Do you value waiting? Do you value somebody who's there for you, heart, mind, soul, and body? Or are you just trying to scratch an itch? And none of these things have values that are outside of, the moral value is what you put on it, that judgment and the things that you come away with are what's really important here, because this is your sexual wellness operating system. Are you living out your sex values? Do you need to take a break? Do you need to take a break maybe from a partner who is demanding or who is insensitive to your needs? When you're looking at this energy center, your heart can become depleted physically because of the way that your physical chakra is treated. So think about this as an integrated whole person and make some values about this. Maybe make some goals. You have some sexual goals. Um, when we are looking at some of your traumas, do you know people who can help you through some of those traumas? This is not an easy topic, and it's not something that might get better in a day. But I'll tell you what, when you make some goals because you've listed some values, you can funnel all of your behaviors through those values and your goals, and that's building some sexual wellness, right? So I think we did sexual wellness in 9 minutes instead of 7, so that lasted a little bit longer than we wanted. um Really, on the topic of STDs, they're increasing. Um, there's a lot of people who have these things and we don't even know. So make sure that you're treating yourself well. It's not a thing to go get checked out. if you need to bounce some ideas about sex, go find a therapist who can really specialize in this because I really want you to be well.